You have been told your entire life that science and religion are opposites, that faith is for the heart and facts are for the lab, that the Quran is a spiritual book, beautiful, meaningful, but not something you bring into a conversation about physics, biology, or astronomy. Here is the problem with that. The Quran was revealed over 1,400 years ago to a man who could not read or write in a desert, without telescopes, without microscopes, without laboratories or universities or the internet. And yet sitting inside that book are descriptions of the natural world so precise, so accurate, so ahead of their time that scientists today are stopping and asking, how did he know this? Not just Muslim scientists, not just believers looking for confirmation, non-Muslim physicists, biologists, embryologists, oceanographers, people with no reason to believe, stopped in their tracks by what they found inside a 1,400-year-old book, and nobody is talking about it. Stay here, because what you are about to hear will change how you read every single ayah for the rest of your life. The universe had a beginning. For most of human history, this was not accepted. The dominant scientific view was that the universe was eternal. It always existed. It had no start, no moment of creation. Then in the 20th century, everything changed. Scientists discovered that the universe began from a single point, an unimaginably dense, unimaginably hot singularity, and in one moment everything exploded outward. Space, time, matter, energy, all of it from nothing. They called it the Big Bang. It was one of the most revolutionary discoveries in the history of science. And it was confirmed definitively only in the 20th century. But here is what stopped scientists cold. Surah Al-Anbiya, Ayah 30. Do the disbelievers not see that the heavens and the earth were a joined entity and we split them apart? A joined entity. Ratkan in Arabic, meaning something sewn together, fused, one, and then we split them apart. Fataka, to tear open, to separate with force. The Quran described the singularity and the explosion over 1,400 years before science confirmed it. And the man who received this revelation had never studied astronomy, had never read a scientific text, had never looked through a telescope. But that is not all, because the universe is not just expanding from that original moment, it is still expanding, right now. As you watch this, the galaxies are moving apart from each other at an accelerating rate. This was discovered by scientists in 1929 when Edwin Hubble observed that distant galaxies were moving away from us. It was one of the most shocking discoveries of the modern era. Surah Ad-Dariyat, Ayah 47. And the heaven we constructed with strength, and indeed we are its expander. We are its expander. Present tense. Ongoing. Continuous. Not. We expanded it. Not. We set it in motion. We are expanding it right now. 1,400 years ago. In the middle of the Arabian desert, from a man who could not read. How? The ocean has darkness so deep that no human eye can penetrate it. For centuries, sailors and fishermen knew the surface of the sea. They knew waves, they knew tides, they knew storms. What they did not know, what no human being could have known without modern technology, is what happens in the deepest parts of the ocean. Scientists discovered in the 20th century that deep ocean water has its own internal waves, waves beneath waves, layers of water moving independently of the surface. And beneath a certain depth, around 200 meters, light completely disappears. Not dims, disappears. Total, absolute darkness. A diver at that depth cannot see their own hand in front of their face. This was confirmed with modern instruments, submarines, sonar, deep-sea equipment that did not exist until the last 100 years. Surah An-Nur, Ayah 40. Or like darknesses in a deep sea covered by waves, upon which are waves, over which are clouds. Darknesses, one above another. When one puts out his hand, he can hardly see it. Waves upon waves, layers of darkness, a hand you cannot see. 1,400 years ago. How did a man in the desert who had never seen a deep ocean describe with perfect accuracy something that science would not confirm for over a millennium? There is only one answer that makes sense. He did not write this book. The human being develops inside the womb in stages. Today we know this with precision. Embryology, the science of how a human develops from a fertilized egg, is a modern discipline. The detailed stages of human development were only mapped out with the invention of the microscope and modern imaging technology. Professor Keith Moore, one of the world's most respected embryologists, author of textbooks used in medical schools across the world, was shown the relevant Quranic verses in the 1980s. He was not Muslim. He had no agenda. He was a scientist. And he said the descriptions in the Quran of the stages of human embryonic development are so accurate that they could not have been known at the time of revelation. The only reasonable explanation is divine revelation. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 12-14. And certainly did. We create man from an extract of clay. Then we placed him as a sperm drop in a firm lodging. Then we made the sperm drop into a clinging clot. And we made the clot into a lump of flesh. Friatry, and we made the lump into bones. And we covered the bones with flesh. Then we developed him into another form. A clinging clot, alaka in Arabic, which means something that clings, but also a leech, and also a blood clot. Modern embryology confirmed that the embryo in its early stages attaches to the uterine wall and looks under a microscope almost identical to a leech. This single Arabic word, used 1,400 years ago, describes three simultaneous characteristics of the early embryo that science would not confirm for over 1,000 years. Professor Moore added this Quranic description to the third edition of his textbook on human embryology. A non-Muslim scientist updated his medical textbook because of the Quran. Let that sit. The earth is not flat, and it is not perfectly still. For most of human history, people believed the earth was stationary. The sun moved, the stars moved, the earth was fixed. The concept of a rotating, spinning earth was considered radical even in Europe well into the medieval period. Surah Az-Zumar, Ayah 5. He wraps the night over the day and wraps the day over the night. The Arabic word used is yukawiru. It means to wrap around in a circular motion, like wrapping a turban around a head, a continuous, circular, rotating wrap. This is not the language of a flat, stationary earth with a sun moving overhead. This is the language of a sphere rotating with day and night wrapping around it continuously. And Surah Al-Anbiya, Ayah 33. And it is He who created the night and the day and the sun and the moon, all in an orbit, swimming. All of them. Swimming in orbit. The sun, the moon, the night, the day, all moving, all in their own orbit. Galileo was put on trial in 1633 for suggesting the earth moved around the sun. He was forced to recant. He spent the rest of his life under house arrest. The Quran said it over 1,000 years before Galileo paid that price for the same truth. So let me ask you something directly. You have just heard 4 examples. The Big Bang, the expanding universe, the layers of the deep ocean, the stages of human embryonic development, the rotation of the earth. 5 things, confirmed by modern science, described with precision in a book revealed 1,400 years ago to a man who could not read or write. What is the probability that this is coincidence? Not one of them, not 2, 5, across completely different fields of science: physics, oceanography, biology, astronomy. The mathematician's answer to that question is 0. This is not a book written by a human being. No human being in 7th century Arabia or anywhere else on earth at that time had access to this knowledge. It did not exist yet. It would not exist for centuries. There is only one explanation that fits all the evidence. Surah Fusilat, Ayah 53. We will show them our signs in the horizons and within themselves until it becomes clear to them that it is the truth. Allah told you He would prove it through the horizons, meaning the universe, the oceans, the natural world, and within themselves, meaning the human body. And He has, consistently, for 1,400 years. Every time science advances far enough to look, it finds the Quran already there, waiting. So here is what I need you to do. The next time someone tells you that faith and science are opposites, remember this video. Remember the singularity and Surah Al-Anbiya. Remember the expanding universe and Surah Ad-Dariyat. Remember the deep ocean and Surah An-Nur. Remember the embryo and Surah Al-Muminun. Remember the rotating earth and Surah Az-Zumar. And then open your Quran. Not just as a source of comfort, not just as something you recite without understanding. Open it as what it actually is. The word of the creator of everything that science is still trying to understand. Because he wrote the universe, and then he sent you the manual. If this shook something in you, if your view of this book just changed, share this video. There is someone in your life who thinks faith and science cannot coexist. Send it to them. Let the evidence speak. Subscribe to Quran Unfiltered, because we are not here to give you easy answers. We are here to give you the truth, even when it demands something from you. The signs were always there. You just needed someone to point at them. Now you cannot say you did not see them.